Well, today, for anybody who had any doubts as to whether I'm nuts or not, I will dispel little myths today. Yes, I am nuts. I did a test the other day with this Ohuhu stove, and it boiled up some water pretty quick. So curiosity got the better of me, and I thought, I wonder if it could actually boil up my big kettle. So I'm going to give it a try. So here I have some standard wood pellets. Pour those in there. That's probably enough. Have a little bit. I always keep some of these in my backpack now, because they're extremely handy. Makes for easy fuel transfer. Unfortunately, it is about -10 today, and my fingers are a little cold, so I do apologise. So, as always, I'm going to use a tried and tested method of actually starting this fire. What I'm going to do. A few cotton balls inside. Instead of using a fire still, we have technology. I'm going to use a lighter. And it should burn down now. I've put a couple of cotton balls further down in the pot there, so I'm going to give that a go. The water that I've got in there, as you can see, I trekked out into the middle of the wilderness to carry out this test, or aka 53 from my back door. So the water in that kettle is straight out of the tap, so it's fairly warm. So what I'm doing is I'm just going to let it sit in the snow, let the water cool down, and see how that works. Alright, I've placed it in a baking tray. I quite often use this baking tray for campfires too, simply because I can light a fire in here and there's no danger of scorching the ground or any of that kind of stuff. Let's see how this works, and once we get the fire going, I'll do some more. Right, now it's taken a little bit to get this fire going. With these pellets I find it's a little harder to get the fire going. So I light it, put a few twigs in there. Now talk about supersizing it and kicking the arse out of it. That's rather a large pot for such a small stove. However, the plan is to see whether that stove will actually boil that much water. Why am I doing this? Damn good question. I boiled a little pot the other day and it actually boiled up real fast. Literally a matter of minutes. So I am curious as to whether there is enough heat. Ooh, a little bit of steam coming out there already. As to whether there's enough heat in a charge of pellets to actually boil that. That is a rather large pot for such a small stove, however. I think we're doing pretty good under there now. I think we have enough heat. Now the weird thing I have found with this is once you put that cone on the top, the pot stand, it actually holds a lot of the heat in there, so it actually boils up much quicker. Gets that fire going quicker too. There's steam coming off the pot at the moment. That's because I had it stood in the snow. I wanted to cool the water down as much as I could because it was household tap water. So I wanted to cool it down and just see whether it will actually do it. But as you can see, we've got a good flame in there now. Starting to gasify good. Make sure I get that in the middle. I have stood it in a baking tray just in case all goes crazy. I'm going to let that run and see what it does. You never know. I was going to take this lot out into the middle of nowhere, but it's a long way to go, and it's also got to carry a lot of water in that pot. I'm not sure what that holds. It's a good few litres, but this is just a test in will it do it or won't it. So I'm going to let that run for a little bit and see how it goes. So in answer to the questions, will it boil and am I nuts? That water's actually starting to move in there. We shall see what it does. I'm actually quite impressed. I'm not impressed with the snow. I should have perhaps cleared the snow off of here first. However, living in this part of the world, last thing you have to do is worry about snow. If you're worried about snow, you're living in the wrong part of the world. I'm actually very impressed with that so far. We actually have bubbles coming up through the water, which I'm very impressed with. And, I want to see if it will actually boil. Looks like it might. Either way, gives me a chance. I was hoping tomorrow is going to be a really sunny day, so I'm going to head out to the mountains tomorrow. And I might just do a photography day tomorrow, go and take a bunch of pictures. But today was supposed to be good, but the cloud looks pretty, even downtown, towards downtown cities that way. So even down there, doesn't look overly clear. It was supposed to clear up today, but we shall see. As you can see, we've got a good flame there now, good gasification. It's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. It is remarkably heavy, actually, considering the size of the stove, but cool. I can actually feel the heat in this kettle now. It is actually quite something. To say I'm impressed is an understatement. This little stove, if you haven't got one of these things, for 22 bucks, they are really worth getting. They run on twigs or pellets. I've been using them on pellets simply because the pellets are really cheap. I bought a 40-pound bag for like $6.5, and that'll last me for ages. Yeah. To fill this up, I've worked out it takes about 500 grams or about a pound of pellets to fill this thing up, and with a full charge of pellets it runs for about an hour and 20. The last time test I did, which was purely a time test, it actually ran for an hour and 20 minutes before it completely went out. So I am very impressed. I'll be even more impressed if it actually brings that amount of water to a rolling boil. I can hear it making noises. I don't know if that's coming through on the camera, but I can hear it making noises. This is the kettle I take with me if I'm heading out, and like if I'm filling up hot water bottles and stuff like that for overnights. This is the one I take with me. The little ones that you have, like the little cooking pots, they hold about a litre. However, a litre of water in a hot water bottle doesn't go far. And I know you can heat up little flasks and your normal water bottles and all that kind of stuff, but one of those old-fashioned rubber hot water bottles is the best thing ever. Just need a decent volume of water to fill it up. You fill one of those up, put it in your sleeping bag and what have you, keeps you warm for hours. I'm impressed. I love this little stove. Like I say, for 22 bucks, it's hard to beat. Hard to beat that for sure. Well, I've just been indoors to check the time, and of course I'm not going to waste this hot water. I'm going to make a nice cup of tea out of it. It's actually starting to hiss and bubble, and it's only been on there for about 10 minutes. It's absolutely brilliant. Probably wondering why I'm sitting on this cushion. It's because it's about -10 today, and the snow in the chair is very, very cold. I actually have bubbles in there. That is literally 10 minutes of sitting on there, and I actually have bubbles in there now. I'm going to wait till it hits a full rolling boil. I don't know if you can pick that up on the camera. As you can see, we have all the wildlife sounds because we're out in the middle of nowhere. All the birds are chirping over there. I have a bird feeder over there, but the birds are chirping at me because I haven't filled it up today. So that's what all that noise is. And the background noise is we have a road not too far away from us. So. It's funny, in the summer with the leaves on the trees you can hardly hear that road. But this time of the year, oh, you can hear it. Let us stand that on there. That is actually almost rolling boil in there. Once that starts bouncing around, I shall make a nice cup of tea. My guess is that'll be about 15 minutes. So, I mean, these stoves, like I say, they run for a good hour and 20 minutes on pellets. It's actually starting to move. I don't know if you can see that. It's now boiling so much the kettle is actually moving. Look at that. That is a complete rolling boil in about 15 minutes with the largest kettle I have. So, not wanting to waste that water, I will make a cup of tea. That is very impressive indeed. Look at it. I know we've got quite a lot of steam coming off there today because it is, like I say, it's -10 out here today. It's supposed to warm up to about -7. Let's make a cup of tea. Look at that. That's actually bouncing around. I'm going to have to keep an eye on that in case that falls over. Right. Ooh, that is actually hot. Ooh. That is actually way too hot to drink at the moment. But I'm impressed. Look at this kettle. Jumping around all over the show now. I'm disappearing into a fog cloud. That is literally, the water in there is literally bouncing around like a crazy thing. So, full size kettle, about 15 minutes, full rolling boil. I don't know if you can get any better than that. And that is just off that little flame. Isn't that amazing? Absolutely amazing. Oh crap, that is actually too hot to drink. I can't believe that. That is actually really cool. I'm sure my kids are going to get up in a minute, look out the window and think, what the hell is that crazy bugger doing now? Yeah. Well, I could have driven out in the middle of nowhere to do this. But I'm going to head downtown later. They're supposed to have a Christmas market and stuff on downtown, so I'm going to go down and see if I can do some Christmas pictures around Calgary. Look at that. That cat was literally just bouncing around. I am impressed. In fact, I'll take that off of there for a bit. Look at this now. That's all going to turn the ice real fast. So I'm wondering how long that will actually burn for there. Get in there, pellets. Let's pellets thought they could escape. No, they've been burned now. Well, if you're in any doubts as to whether to buy one of those little stoves or not, get one. There are many that look like it. There's plenty that this is obviously a copy of another very famous one. This is a Chinese copy, I suspect. And for 22 bucks, hard to beat. I've seen similar stoves like that, which literally go for 80 to 100 bucks. This one, 22 bucks. Folds up to nothing. Comes in a little pouch, which I have in my pocket at the moment. It, like I say, boils a full-size kettle there in 15 minutes. That is crazy, absolutely crazy. Well, I'm going to sit here and enjoy my tea. I'm going to take that off of there for a minute. Just let it cool down over here somewhere. Stand that in the ice, that'll soon cool down. But the last times test I did on this, one of these, it literally burnt for about an hour. So I'm not sure I'm going to sit here in -10 and just stare at this for an hour. Yeah. But it does chuck off a lot of heat. Actually very impressed. Very impressed. The gasification process there is clear to see. Perfect ring of flame around there. So I'm going to let that run a bit and come back in a minute. Well, this is not my usual campfire, but a slightly bigger campfire than this, however. Just emptied the water out the kettle just to let that cool down. So, now I get to sit and wait. See how long this will actually last. Like I say, 15 minutes to get to go. I've got to find a slightly different way of lighting these pellets. The cotton balls with Vaseline seems to work very well. However, it takes a little bit just to get it going. It takes me about 4 or 5 minutes messing around to actually get a good heat, because these fires burn from the top down, not from the bottom up. So it takes a little bit just to get that heat going. But now I've got it drawing down through there. That hot gas is coming up the side and burning real nice. It's hard to beat that. I can tell you now, actually sitting here, I can feel the heat coming off that. That's good. There's no water left in my kettle now, so I've emptied that out. So, yeah, she's empty. This thing is brilliant. So it gets absolutely black like that. I take that indoors, 2 scrubs with a brush. It's back to good again. Some people leave them all covered in carbon and junk like that. That just makes a mess of everything. All the time in my car, that always lives in the back of my car in the winter. So if I ever find myself stuck out in the middle of nowhere, at least I can get a fire going, get some hot water going, make a brew. Around here, you never know. You break down in the middle of nowhere and it's -30. You need some heat. Yeah. Hot water and a hot water bottle will keep it going. But this will actually burn now for some considerable period of time. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to let that burn down completely, wait till it turns to ash, and one of these shrubs will get a nice supply of ash for next year. Yeah. I'd say a pound of those wood pellets burns for about an hour. That's $6.50 a bag for a 40-pound bag. Hard to beat that, really. I know if you're out in the middle of nowhere, that's the other reason I like these, it's because you can use this as a stick stove. So if you're ever anywhere that there's no sticks, you're really in trouble. But it's not very often I go places that there isn't some kind of firewood. But I have found over the years, I use that baking tray as well. I'll build a fire in a baking tray so that I don't damage the ground. Like if I'm lighting a fire somewhere and I don't want to leave any marks anywhere or pile up rocks and stuff, I'll use that baking tray. It does 2 things. contains the fire, contains the ash. It actually makes a fairly good snow removal tool. If I find myself out in the middle of nowhere and rather than carrying a huge spade, I carry this because I can just use it as a scraper, and you'd be surprised how much snow you can move with that thing. Yeah, I moved a lot of snow with that. Yeah. And that was like $5 from Walmart. So. But I find the deep ones work better. I can get a fire in there, and I've made a little grate that goes over the top, so I can use it for cooking, like a little grill grate. It's a nice little burst of heat there. That was nice. Yeah, hard to beat it. I've just noticed one of my neighbours looking out the window from up the road, and he's probably looking out thinking, what the hell is he doing? I'm sure I'm going to hear about that later. Hey Dave, what the hell are you doing? Yes. My neighbours all think I'm crazy anyway, so this will remove any doubt that there is. Yeah. An impressive little stove. I'm not sure who invented this in the first place, but I know that this is just a copy. I'm not sure that who invented it, but let me tell you, that is a very clever piece of engineering. I have heard people say about cutting the tops out on these so that you can feed sticks in them, but as you can see, it takes 2 seconds just to take a pot on and off, just to chuck sticks in there. But if I wanted to, if I was going to be keeping this going for a while, I could just chuck more wood in the top. I've got a whole pile of pellets. I could just chuck those in there and it'll be done. But now it's just a case of letting that burn itself down, and once that's out and all cooled down and stuff, then I can clean it all up. Clean up is real easy, especially in the snow. It's like this kettle. If you take this in the snow, you run around, you can literally just wipe that carbon straight off of it. I use best thing I find for that is one of those little Scotch Brights, just a little Scotch Bright pad, cleans it up lovely. Yeah. Well, I'm very impressed with that. So all I'm going to do now is let this burn itself down and enjoy my tea. Tell you what, it's nicer sitting on this cushion than it is on a freezing cold chair. It's cold. The birds are getting upset with me now. They will literally come and sit on the deck and look in the window and stare at me because I haven't filled the bird feeder up. They're sitting over there on the fence now. If I could get up and swing round without scaring them off, I would. But yep, they're all sitting on the fence staring at me because the bird feeder's done. I try to fill it up every other day because we also have squirrels. If I fill it up every day, the squirrels can come and empty one of those things in next to no time. So I fill it up every other day, so all the seeds are on the ground. They rummage around on the ground and pick up all those seeds. Look at that. I'm impressed. That's pretty cool. That's one thing. In -10, it doesn't take long for your tea to cool down. Yeah? So I think that'll burn for some time yet. I'll come back in a minute. I'm just going to clean up some of this stuff. I'll come back in a minute. And then, see how long that goes for. Well, I've tidied up some of the stuff. I need to put my tripod and that away yet. And it, as you can see, that's about a half an hour now that that's been going. And still going strong. It's half an hour. Yep. Very impressed with these little stoves. It's a great technique. I don't know who actually invented that. But a gasification stove. You can actually buy proper furnaces for houses and all this kind of stuff now, and wood stoves that run in the same process. But if you look, There's absolutely no smoke off that whatsoever. Absolutely none. Hard to beat that, eh? Last thing you want to do is be out in the middle of bloody nowhere and creating clouds. Yeah, I've done it in the past, and especially if the wood's a little damp. Yeah, that's really quite something. So what I will do is I will let that burn down, let it do its thing, and then I shall come back out and tidy it up once it's gone out. Right, that'll do for now.